Morning, everybody. I don't know if you can see it through the back window there, but got the boat hooked up. Today's kind of a crappy, rainy, I don't know, Victoria Day holiday, Monday. Figured it's too terrible out to go riding around the boat, so I'm gonna tow it out to a weigh scale because I'm curious how much the boat weighs on the trailer. And how much tongue weight is on the car. Anybody that knows anything about towing is when you're towing a load, especially on a ball, you want to have at least 10% of the total trailer weight on the ball of the car. I kind of just been doing it by feel. I think I'm actually over. It probably should be about 350 pounds on the ball of the car, but I get a feeling it might actually be a little bit higher than that. It might be around 400 or 500 pounds, which is like kind of max for this car. So I'm gonna take it to a Flying J, get on the cat scales, and see what we got for weight. I've been putting the outboard motor up in the front of the boat, up in the V berth, and the gas can, and I got a 5-gallon jug of water in there, and anything else I can think of, I've been throwing in the front of the boat. But I want to see how much tongue weight that's actually giving me, because if I can get away with not having to put the outboard motor all the way in the front of the boat, that'd be definitely beneficial. So when we get out there, we'll have a look. So as I mentioned in the previous clip there, I'm going to take the boat out and get it weighed. And the reason I'm doing that is there's no specs on how much the boat and trailer combination weighs. Anything I couldn't find anyways. So the boat comes in at about 2,400 pounds. It's not clear if that includes the motor, the sails, any other stuff you put in it. And then they don't give you a trailer weight. So I'm going to assume it's about 1,000 pounds for the trailer, in and around there. So the total towed weight is probably 3,500 pounds, maybe 37 with the motor and gas and everything on it. They got a bunch of other stuff in there too. I got tools and spare parts and the paddles and the bailing bucket, all that stuff all adds up, right? It's just a single lead acid car battery in there right now, which is at the back of the boat in its stock mounted location. I'm eventually going to move that. But I want to know how much it actually weighs in total as it is ready to go. And then I will know how much tongue weight I'm supposed to have. And the only way you can do that is take it to a scale and see what the whole thing weighs. So when I get there, what I'm going to end up doing is weighing the entire combination on a segmented scale. And I had a look at it last night, and it looks like I should be able to get the front tires of the car on one segment of the scale, the rear tires on another segment, and the trailer should just catch the last segment on the scale. This is a scale for transports and stuff, so it is rather large. But hopefully I can make it all fit. And what that'll give me is it'll give me the front tire weight, the rear tire weight of the tow vehicle, like the car, and then the trailer weight. And then once I'm going to take the trailer off and then pull just the car on and weigh the car. And then the difference in weights, I should be able to tell what the tongue weight is on the car, and then make adjustments there. Like I said, I'm going to get rid of the single car battery and probably put two 6-volt like golf cart style batteries in there, up in the front of the boat, which means that'll give me a lot more tongue weight, and I can do the math on that when I do it, and then I won't have to put so much stuff up in the V berth. All right, and I'll talk to you again when I get there. So there's the combination. This is what we're going to weigh today, and we'll see how she goes. So you can see the yellow lines on the scale there. You got to get each tire on each separate segment. I'll show you in a second here. So I'm going to pull on. I'm watching the trailer. Okay, we just got to get the front tires just on the front there, and the trailer will be on the last. Perfect. Okay, here we go. And there's what it looks like. One segment there. Car on the next segment. So you get all 3 axles. So this is just the car. As you can see, the car's on two separate segments. I'm gonna go back and get the trailer and weigh it again. I forgot to take a video of it with the trailer, but that's okay. Hit the button. Standing on the scale too, because I want my weight in here.
Okay, that's your second one.
We'll go over the paperwork once I get home, and we'll see if we can figure out what the actual tongue weight is. Okay, so I'm just pulling into an on-road here. I was doing some quick looking here. We're gonna do the math and all this stuff once I get home, but I can tell by the sheet that there's probably about 600 pounds of tongue weight on the car right now, which is too much. You know, there should only be about 350. So what I can do right now to kind of remedy that is I'm going to pull the outboard out of the V-berth, put it in the car. That's about 50 pounds off the tongue. I got the gas can is up there as well. It's about 25, 30 pounds of gas. Like we're almost right on the tongue. I'll take that out. And what else do I got in there? I have a 5-gallon jug of water, but that's sitting closer to the axle, so it might be okay. Okay, well, sorry for the portrait versus landscape mode here. I never really thought about you know, switching the phone back and forth for different B-roll footage and all that. But anyways, I just took the outboard out of the boat. It's cruise-a-day gas tank, a gas can, whatever you want to call it. I had an extra 2.5 gallons on the boat. I always carry extra gas. So I put all that in the car. So what that's going to do is that's going to make the entire trailer head lighter, along with taking about maybe 150 pounds off the tongue weight of the car. That's just a guess. And then we'll see how it tows. It should be okay, because I think I'm still over 350 pounds, or I need almost 400 pounds on the car. And by looking at these sheets here, there's about 520, so we're probably pretty close to the ideal tongue weight. So we'll see how it feels here. If it gets a lot of sway and all that, I'll let you guys know. Oh yeah, just to mention as well, I'm doing about 100 kilometers an hour, 62-ish miles an hour on the highway. Just so you know how fast I'm going. It's a little breezy, and there's usually transports passing me, so if there's anything that's going to upset the balance of the tow vehicle and the trailer, it's bound to happen today. So we'll see how it goes, what the recovery's like, if it does get into a little bit of sway, if it kind of settles in behind the car, or if there's any weird tendencies with the car. I'll keep you guys posted. You also got to keep in mind too, it's a boat. It's a pretty big boat, and any little breezes and stuff will kind of get the trailer moving a little bit, but as long as it settles behind the car, you don't have any weird steering issues, you should be all right. Okay, so I got my trusty measuring tape out here. I just got back to the storage unit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the distances between the front and rear tires on the car, the rear tire to the ball, and then the ball to the axle on the trailer. And that's going to give me the ability to figure out when I change where the weight is on the boat, how that affects the actual tongue weight, because you know the V-berth is like right here, right? So you take 100 pounds out of the V-berth, well, that's not really 100 pounds off the tongue. It's maybe, just a quick guess, maybe 70 pounds off the tongue and maybe 30 pounds off the axle. So the whole trailer gets lighter, but it also shifts the weight, you know, off the car, more onto the trailer, and then also takes weight off the back tires and puts more on the front. Because everything's like a whole bunch of pivot points. Everywhere there's a connection, the ball, the rear tires, the front tires, and the trailer axle are all pivot points around, and the weight acts around all those pivot points to give you the different weight and balance. So I'm going to measure this stuff up, and we'll see how she goes. Okay, so you can see I got the measuring tape centered on the front axle, and then to the rear tires we have, we'll call it 106. Close enough. Now you put a little marker there. And I'm going to measure to the ball. The ball is roughly, I'd say 50 inches. Right about here. Yeah, right about here is where the ball is. So let's put a marker there. There's my marker. Yeah, that looks pretty close. And I'm going to say 174. Yeah, we'll do 174. Close enough. All right. Okay, hey everybody, I have the results back from weighing the car with the trailer on to figure out tongue weight. And we'll go through it here in a second, but as it turns out, the tongue weight was actually right in the ballpark, actually maybe a little on the light side for the setup that I had, which is surprising. I really didn't think it was that light on the tongue, but it was. So here's what we got. So up in the top here, let me get my pen started. We have all the empty weights. We have the center of gravity of those weights, and then the total center of gravity of the car. So the front came in at 2,620 pounds. The rear came in at 2,200 pounds for a total vehicle weight, empty, 4,820. And that's with me in it as well. And full tank of gas and some tools in the back. The total center of gravity is right here, 109 inches. And this is all measured from the ball. So 109 inches forward from the ball, which is probably right around the driver's seat, maybe a little further back, is where the center of gravity of the car was. Now, if you remember, on the way back, I mentioned that I thought I had too much tongue weight. Because if you look at these two weights here, after being weighed, they come up with a difference of 520. So when I put the trailer on the car, that changed the weight of the front end by minus 160 pounds. It got lighter to 2,460 pounds. The rear got considerably heavier, 2,720. That's a change of 520. It got heavier. And the total vehicle weight, 5,180, went up 360. I'm like, well, hang on. Like, that seems like it's a pretty light tongue weight. How the heck is that working with the axle being so much heavier? Well, because you put the trailer on so far behind the rear axle, the weight it pulls off the front end gets added to the rear axle. And if you actually subtract these out, do 520 minus 160, you get 360. If you minus the loaded weight of the car and the empty weight of the car, you get 360. And then we can verify that another way as well. The total combined weight of the car and the trailer, everything, was 9,080 pounds. The axle weight for the trailer by itself came in at 3,900 pounds. If you take the total combined right here and minus the empty weight of the car right here, you get this, 4,260. This is the total weight of the trailer as it sits by itself, in a parking lot, on its stand or whatever. And if you take the total trailer weight minus the axle weight, you get 360 pounds. That's what the car is carrying, is 360 pounds. And that's your tongue weight. All right, I hope that's informative to anybody and everybody. If you're curious about how I got these numbers, it all has to do with multiplying this stuff out here. You get the moments, you multiply the rear axle times its datum number, you get its moment. You add those two together, and then you divide that number by the weight, and it'll give you this number. And that's your center of gravity of the entire car. And then you can see how it moves when you add weights in different spots. And then that's how you tell where that 520 pounds came from. It's literally just because you added the trailer weight so far behind the rear axle that it took up this much extra weight, some of it from the front and some of it from the trailer. All right, so that's good to know as well too, because there's a possibility you can overload your rear axle without having too much tongue weight. So it's worth keeping in mind. All right, if there's any questions or comments, write them below in the comment section, and I'll respond to them as quickly as I can. Thanks for watching.